Hi, it's Charlie again. A few weeks ago, I was proudly patting myself on the back because I repaired my own set of speakers here at home. One of the tweeters in one of my speakers had gone bad, and I replaced it with a brand new tweeter. Up to that point, I was having some problems with my speakers, and I couldn't figure out why there was such a great imbalance between the left and right speakers, and I could not solve that problem for the life of me. I tried a lot of things. I did a lot of diagnostic tasks and everything, and could not figure out what it was until I put my ear to the speaker itself and found out that that one tweeter in that speaker was not working. So it was just a 1 hour piece of surgery, just removing one tweeter out and replace it with another tweeter just like it. And it was relatively low cost because I did not want to go out and buy another set of speakers, at least not at this time. But that started me to think about other parts of my stereo system that probably needs more attention. The oldest component I have in my stereo system is my turntable. Is that Technics turntable you see in my videos all the time where I play records on it. That thing is actually probably about 33, 34 years old. I bought that in the late 80s for like $150. It's running fine. It's running like brand new. If there's one component I like to replace my stereo system, it would be the turntable. However, I'm in the mindset to believe that, I'm not going to replace anything until it breaks down on me, and then I'll replace it with something else. And that turntable, that Technics turntable, has been running like a top since the day I bought it. Now, I don't play the records as often as I used to back when I first bought this turntable, so maintenance on it is not that big of a deal for me. However, I do replace the needle and the cartridge periodically. In fact, I just bought one this year. It's the first cartridge needle replacement I bought for that turntables in at least 3 years. And that's something you need to be aware of if you play records a lot or play records on a regular basis on your own system. I think a diamond needle on a stylus diamond needle will last, I think 3,000 hours of use. If you can't remember the last time, if you had bought a turntable in the past 3 years, and you don't play records every day for like 8 hours a day, I will still think that you should probably replace that, at least replace a needle on your turntable to get better performance out of it. There's a huge category of accessories that you can use, you can buy for your turntable and for your records. One that I have is this here. This is actually it's a felt mat that you put on your turntable, and I got this one for free at End of an Air in Austin, Texas. The owner gave it to me when I bought a bunch of records there. He gave it to me for free. Nice gesture. I like it. But the felt mat on a turntable is not a good thing, and I say that with some caution because the felt mat will dampen noise between the table and your cartridge and everything in the record. But at the same time, the felt also attracts dust. It's a great conductor of static electricity, and where I live in San Antonio, it's particularly in this type of year. And going from fall into winter, it gets very dry here, and it's very dry and very dusty. And I become a magnet for static electricity. I get shocked all the time when I touch something electronic during the winter months, and I hate it. Another accessory that I use for my records when I play them is this carbon fiber brush. It's very small, very compact, and these are pretty relatively cheap. This one I've had one for about 15 years, and it works just fine. For dry cleaning the record that's on the turntable, it just turn it upside down, or just flip it over, and you have two rows of carbon fiber bristles here that cleans the record pretty well. Some of these brushes I've seen have a cable that attached to them, and you ground that cable to something metal, and it will remove the static from your records. In some cases, in some way. These are great. These are fine for dry, just for a spot cleaning record on the turntable to remove dust off of it. I am not an artist by any stretch of the imagination, but I do keep a pair of paint brushes with me next to my turntable, and I use these to clean the needle or the stylus of the cartridge. Just dip. I have a very fine one right here and a little bit thicker one right here, and I dip it in alcohol and just lightly brush the stylus with the brush to remove dirt and lint off the needle. And I do that after about every 3 plays because it depends on how dirty, how dusty that record is. But it's a good idea to do that before you play any of your records on your turntable. Another accessory that you may find useful is this nifty little lamp here that I got from IKEA. It's really cool when I go to or audiophile forums and everything that people show pictures of the system, this is almost like a universal thing. Like almost every audiophile picture I've seen from the home system have one of these lamps shone on top of their records. It's really cool. It's really great. There's two types of this lamp. There's one. The one that I wanted is not like this one. This one has a base to it, has a weight base to it. The one that I wanted has the spring clamp on the bottom. And at the time I bought this, that model was not available in the United States, and so had it set up for this type of a lamp, which is fine. It's good. I like it. And another cool thing about these lamps here, is that when they throw light down on the record, it makes a really cool reflection of the vinyl of the grooves up on the ceiling and around the room if you turn the lights up. Just really cool. However, back to the original point though, is that if you hear a lot of hum in your system from your records, or just a little bit of hum, chances are that your turntable is not grounded to the rest of your system. So it's a good idea to always ground your turntable to your receiver, your amplifier, or something metallic along the signal path to get rid of the hum. My turntable is direct drive, so there are no belts. I don't have to worry about such things. But if you have a belt drive turntable, and most turntables sold these days are belt driven, it will be a great idea to buy a spare belt, or maybe spare two belts for a while, because you don't know how long that turntable will remain in production. So if you have a 5-year turntable that's all of a sudden that's not being produced anymore, you may have a hard time finding replacement belts for it. I don't know how, since I don't own a belt-driven turntable, I don't know how long they last, but it's like having a spare tire in your car. You may never need it, but when you need it, it'll be there for you. So how loud are you playing your music? Very loud? Loud enough to rattle windows and shake the furniture around your home, disturbing the missus? If so, that's way too loud. You have to be careful about your hearing, because your hearing is all you have, and once you lose your hearing, it never comes back. So on my phone, I have an app here that measures sound levels. It's an SPL meter, stands for sound pressure level, and you can find these in the App Store for iPhone, or the Android store for Android phones, and it's pretty simple. It uses the microphone on the phone to measure the sound pressure levels around you. And I'll give an example of that when I got my remote control here, and I'm gonna start it. And so I'm speaking right now, and it's measuring about 40 to 50 dB. Now I'm gonna turn the music on, and it's probably gonna jump up a great deal. So I couldn't see the meter face of it, but I think I was averaging about 80 dB, 80 decibels, which is pretty loud indeed. And it's ideally you probably should keep it under 80 dB or less, depending on what you listen to. At 90, that's really, really loud. You all go to rock concerts, and rock concerts are hitting 130, 140 dB. Commercial jets take off with 120 dB at 100 yards away from it. You're damaging your hearing. So, turn it down, or plug in the headphones. But the reason I bring that point up, because as you turn up the music and drive your speakers to play louder, you're asking your amplifier to put out more power. In order to put out more power, it's going to generate more heat. And heat is the killer of electronics. I'm down here on the floor to show off my receiver. Actually, it's an AVR, and it's an Onkyo 805. And when I play music loudly, like you just heard before, it gets very, very hot. In fact, it gets so hot, it's hard, you can't really touch it. And that kills electronics faster than anything else. When you push them to their limit, and when the heat builds up inside of them, they don't last very long. Electrons just do not like things that they do not like getting hot. So you need to avoid that sort of thing. And one of the ways you can avoid that is giving a receiver or amplifier, whatever, some breathing room. You'll see that mine has a couple of inches between it and the shelf above it to allow it to breathe. You should at least be able to put your hand between the top of the amplifier or receiver and the shelf above it, to at least feel how warm it is getting in there, and to allow it to, don't don't put it in a tight, compressed area, because that's going to kill it in just a matter of time before it dies, because it's overheating, and again, it has to ventilate that heat out. My receiver is the Onkyo 805, and it's about 10 years old. The Onkyo 05 series was a very good series of receivers by Onkyo, but they're very problematic. They had problems. In fact, some were even defective. For one thing, they ran hot. Mine runs hot. Another thing that the 05 receivers of that time, the other problem they had is that because of the heat that built up inside the receiver, it would kill components inside of the parts of the receiver. For instance, the HDMI boards would go bad because of the heat, because the HDMI boards sat atop of the heat sinks that generated all the heat. Another thing that would go bad would be the front panel here, the front display would go dark. If you can't see it, it makes it almost useless. Also caused by the heat inside the receiver. So I sort of took things in my own hands and bought one of these. This is a little fan, the personal fan here, and I placed this fan over the hot parts of this receiver when I play it really, really loud, particularly during movies. And parts of those get very, very loud with the explosions and music and everything and dialogue and such as that. It can get pretty hot. And this will, put it over the vents, have it blowing upward that way, so it's sucking the air, sucking the heat out of the system, out of the cabinet. If you play music for an hour at a moderate level, and then put your hand over the heat sinks or the ventilation ports of the receiver or the amplifier, and if it's too hot for you to touch, it's running too hot, and you need to give it some ventilation, especially if it's inside of a cabinet, wall unit such as that. You need to give it some room to breathe and to ventilate. Well, lucky for me, I found a hack on the internet for my receiver to make it display the internal temperature from two sensors inside the receiver. As long as I keep it below 60 degrees Celsius, I'm good. Well, I'm not going to get into how to take care of your media, because I think we all know how to do that, and I may say that for another segment like this one. But everybody knows that I don't keep my CDs in their jewel cases. I don't use jewel cases at all. I keep them in folders, and if that bothers people, hey, too bad. That's just me. It cuts down on clutter around me. It was a space thing. Also, it makes it easier for me to move them from place to place. If you're worried about me damaging my CDs like that, I will tell you right now that every CD that I own plays just fine. I'm not suffering from CD rot like others have reported. Although I have had a couple of DVDs that will not play, also a couple of Blu-rays that will not play either. I don't understand the cause of that, but it's probably some form of CD rot at the same time, or just poorly manufactured disc. But all my CDs are in carry folders and not in jewel discs, and that's how I like to keep those things. So, thanks for watching. I hope you got something out of it. If you have any questions or have any suggestions for me, please leave them in the comments. Either I'll post this on both the YouTube channel and the Facebook section. And I really do appreciate all the good comments that I get from my videos, because I try really hard, and it's really hard for me to do these things because I don't play well in front of a camera, but I'm trying my best to get better at it with each and every time. So thanks a lot, and keep spinning those records, keep listening to those CDs, and keep buying that physical media.